The U.S. military will likely return to Subic Bay, 30 years after relinquishing what was once its largest military base in Asia. Negotiations are ongoing, and Vice President Kamala Harris met with Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. regarding this matter a few days ago. Rolen Paulino, chairman of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority (SBMA), told Kyodo News on the 23rd of November that he would be very surprised if Subic Bay does not become an EDCA, or Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, site. He explained, "During war, time is of the essence," pointing to Subic Bay's excellent strategic location. Importantly, the comment came a day before the 30th anniversary of the U.S. Navy's departure from the harbor that it had controlled for nearly 94 years. In this video, Defense Updates reports on major steps the U.S. and Philippines are taking to counter China. Let's get into the details. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. EDCA is an agreement between the U.S. and the Philippines that provides a legal basis for American and Filipino service members to undertake security cooperation exercises, pursue joint and combined military training activities, and rapidly respond to humanitarian assistance and relief efforts from agreed locations in the Philippines on a rotational basis. Signed in 2014, the EDCA is likely to continue beyond its 10-year period. There are currently 5 EDC locations in Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Cagayan de Oro, Cebu, and Palawan. The United States has announced in November that it's identifying more sites for implementation of EDCA with the Philippines. Subic Bay is a bay on the west coast of the island of Luzon in the Philippines, about 100 kilometers or 62 miles northwest of Manila Bay. From 1901 to 1992, the United States operated a naval base, Subic Bay Naval Station, on the southeast coast of the bay, the largest naval station in the Philippines. The area suffered heavy damage during World War II. It was taken by the Japanese in 1942 and retaken by Allied forces in 1944. Its proximity to Southeast Asia gave the U.S. naval base a prominent supply and maintenance role in the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, as well as the Cold War in the second half of the 20th century. Following the turnover of the base to the Philippines in 1992, the area was redeveloped as a free enterprise zone that included establishing a free port and manufacturing plants, building tourist facilities in coastal areas, and converting the airbase there to an international airport. Those activities provided a major boon to the regional economy. In 2012, the Philippine government agreed to begin allowing U.S. warships limited access to the Subic Bay port facilities. On November 9th, U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Mary Kay Carlson, visited Subic Bay and the shipyard that U.S. private firm Cerberus Capital Management LP acquired this year. The Philippine Navy has also begun occupying part of the shipyard as its new naval base. China claims most of the South China Sea and is militarizing it by creating artificial islands and deploying weapons and radars. It's said that it has indisputable sovereignty over the area. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan have disputed these claims. In 2013, the Philippines government, led by then-President Benigno Aquino III, brought an arbitration case against China in the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, Netherlands. On the 12th of July 2016, the tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines. The landmark decision rejected China's assertion that it enjoys historic rights over the huge area of the South China Sea, encompassed by its so-called nine-dash line. China had argued that the tribunal had no jurisdiction in the matter and rejected the decision. China's been poking Philippines time and again by intruding in its waters. Last year, the Philippines sent 4 warships to prevent a potential Chinese takeover of the Whitsun Reef. The warships included Manila's 2 brand-new missile corvettes, Jose Rizal and Antonio Luna. The operation was coordinated with the U.S., which had sent the USS Theodore Roosevelt supercarrier, CVN-71, and USS Macon Island, LHD-8, Wasp-class amphibious assault ship, along with their combined air wings and escorting cruisers, destroyers, and submarines. While previous President Rodrigo Duterte had been attempting to forge closer ties with Beijing despite Chinese wrongdoing, current President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has sought to take a more proactive position in dealing with China. China has been using its Coast Guard to harass the Philippines' fishing and patrol vessels. A Chinese law that has come into effect recently allows the Chinese Coast Guard, or CCG, to use weapons against foreign ships that it sees as illegally entering its waters. With this law, China's Coast Guard could use water cannons, handcuffs, and tear gas, although the use of more lethal weapons is not explicitly ruled out. The CCG has been transformed into a military-like organization under the centralized command of the Chinese Communist Party Central Committee and the Central Military Commission. This is similar to the People's Liberation Army, PLA. U.S. Department of Defense report of 2020 indicates that China has more than doubled the number of large Coast Guard ships, over 1,000 tons, from about 60 in 2010 to over 130. The new law and Chinese bid to take over Whitsun Reef seems to have compelled the Philippines to take a more harder stance against China. A mutual defense treaty signed in 1951 remains in force, stipulating that both U.S. and the Philippines would help defend each other if either were attacked by a third party. Speaking to reporters on the 21st of November, Kamala Harris reaffirmed Washington's unwavering commitment to the pact. "We must reiterate always that we stand with you in defense of rules and norms," Harris said, adding that any attack on Philippines vessels in the South China Sea would invoke mutual U.S. defense commitments. While Manila has a lot to gain, Washington will also get a major foothold in the strategic area that has close proximity with both Taiwan and Japan.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.